In this video, I will be showing you how to create a smart notebook file and the basics of the software. To get started, all I did was open the app, and it opened straight to a blank new page. You can see that this is the main space that I'm going to be creating and editing, and when I present, this is what the students will see. Over here, I have a little thumbnail image. It doesn't look like much now, but just you wait. Here is my toolbar. Here's all the things that I can add and all the things that I can do to the document. I'm going to point out the most important features. Select, pens, shapes, text, regular polygons, and lines. And of course, eventually, erase. To get started, I'm going to add some text. When I add some text, I need to figure out where it's going to be placed. I'm going to place it right here and start typing. Notice as I started typing, it went to these default settings. That's kind of boring, so let's make some changes. I'm going to reselect the text, and now I can change font color, font size, and even the font itself. You also have other editing features which are familiar to you: bold, italics, underline, different justifications, and bulleted lists, and other formatting features like subscript and superscript. You can also add text and make the changes to the text before you start typing. Notice I clicked on the text icon, but I haven't started typing yet. I'm going to go ahead and make some changes to my font right now. Change the color. And there you have it. On this page, I also want to use one of my next favorite features, which is the Shapes tool. You've got a variety of shapes here. You have hearts, stars, click on the down arrow, and you've got lots of other options here. Let's add a trapezoid. I selected the trapezoid, but I also want to select the different features. Like, I want it to be a yellow trapezoid. That would be the fill color. But I want it to have a red outline. That's going to be the line color. With those options selected, I can now draw my trapezoid. Let's switch to a new shape. I'm going to go over here to the regular polygons, and I'm going to draw a pentagon. With this pentagon, I'm going to make some changes again. Let's make this one green with blue lines, and I'm even going to change the line. I can make it a little bit thicker. I can change what style of line, dashed or solid. And now let's draw that pentagon. Notice it kept all of those settings. If you ever create your object and want to make changes afterwards, you just select and make those changes. Here I'm going to be changing the transparency, making it a little bit see-through. That means when I pull it over the text, I can still see the text behind it. That's enough for one page. Let's add a new page. To add the next page, I simply click on this Add Page icon. Notice these thumbnails. I still have my first page back here, and now I'm on this new blank page. Let's one more time add a fun shape. I like this shape so much, I want to use it in multiple ways. When I right-click on this shape, it gives me a whole different menu. I can clone this shape and create a duplicate, much like copy and paste, but fewer steps. I can also, as you notice, move each shape. If I want this shape to stay in place, though, I can right-click and lock it in place. Now when I attempt to move it, it doesn't move. This one is still mobile. Another feature, one of my favorites, is right-click, Infinite Cloner. This feature is just one clone at a time, but if I click on Infinite Cloner, it does lock this into place because every time I select it and pull away, it is grabbing another figure. Again, it's one of my favorite features, especially when I'm using math manipulatives and I need an infinite supply. I can have an infinite supply with that Infinite Cloner. I think it's time for a new page. Notice it's keeping track of all of our pages so far with those thumbnail images. And I can navigate by clicking on each one of these. I can also navigate by clicking through with these arrow icons. On this page, I'm going to add a table. Don't get your hopes up. The table is not the most amazing feature, but it can be a helpful tool. This is not like inserting a table into Word. I'm going to move that around, and as I try and change the size, I'm really just trying to change how wide it is, but you notice it's not cooperating. It's changing the whole entire thing. So in order to change the width, I've got to go ahead and come into each one of these columns, changing them to the size that I want them to be. You can do the same thing with the rows. Now I'm going to start adding content. Notice that it is keeping the same text formatting that I used last all the way back here. I'm going to make that change. Lots of options here. It's filling the table with a certain color, giving the table a line color and the text color as well. Let's see what this looks like. I only made those adjustments for this first cell and it didn't save them. It defaulted back to the last text option used previously. So like I said, not the best feature, but it will suffice for most of our needs. Now, as I'm doing this activity, I don't want the students to be able to see the whole entire screen. So I'm going to use this, another one of my favorites, this screen shade. What this did is it didn't erase any of my content, it just hid it behind a shade. You can change the color of the shade and you can move that shade. I'm going to pull it down so I'm only revealing the top part of that line. You can move the shade in multiple ways. You can move it left to right, up and down, revealing whichever parts you want. And if you want it gone, you simply exit out. Notice that even in that thumbnail view, it is still using that screen shade. I think it's time for another new page. I can create a new page by going to that new page option, but I can also create a new page by simply going to the right when there aren't any pages left to go to. And there's my new page. When you're using Smart Notebook as a presentation tool, you're going to probably be close to your smartboard and wanting to write on the board. That's when the pen tools are going to be handy. Using the pen tools, you can just write. You can change your ink options, defaulting to black, having red, or even choosing all your other color options and line options. We'll change the line option here and we'll do it in purple. And you can see that it's now doing that dotted line anywhere that I go. This is a favorite among the students. That was pen. There's all of these different other options. You want a crayon look? We can do a crayon look. If you want a magic pen or a creative pen, those have some other really special features too. I like the creative pen. You've got all of these different options. The creative pen here is just dragging those smiley faces. This is the one that's a favorite among the students. They love seeing those fun colors. Time for a new page. On this next page, we are going to use the equation editor to insert some math formatted text. What I mean by math formatted text is I could create a text box and say x plus 3 equals 7, but it's a lot harder to do a fraction. Not quite what I was looking for if I'm looking for a fraction that's stacked on top the way that it should be. So when we use the equation editor, we click on this icon here and we choose this option here. It's the sigma symbol. And now I have all of the features that I want. And this is really handy. It knows a lot of keyboard shortcuts. I can do the fraction 2/3 and click on this icon and type in 2/3. But I can also just start typing and say that it's equal to 5 over x. All I did was I hit the slash button and it knew that that meant fraction 5 over x. And I'm able to create my equation. Again, you've got lots and lots of different options here. Created that one. Let's create another one. Oops. There we go. Select so I can move it around. Let's create another one. Wrong button. We've got all of our symbols, our operation symbols, infinity, pi, lots of fun things there. Notice the difference. The formatting here makes it an equation. The challenge is you can't just quickly go in and change that 7 to an 8. You've got to go back into the equation editor, which does take a little bit of time, but the math formatted text helps us realize that it's math and that it's special and that we can do these other great things with it. You cannot change the font colors, but you can change the sizes simply by enlarging or shrinking. The last things to show you are our screen capture tool. This is a handy tool on your Windows computer. It's called Snip and Sketch. I have it pinned to my taskbar because I use it daily. And what the Snip and Sketch does is it allows you to take a screenshot of just a part of your screen. I've got this PowerPoint open and I'd like to take a screenshot of this image. So I go to the Snip and Sketch tool, tell it to create a new one, and I want this image right here. It cuts it out and it copies it to the clipboard. It is now ready to paste into my Smart document. I'm going to do this on a new page. And there is that new image, which again you can edit. You can change the size, you can change different features like the transparency. And now I have finished creating my whole entire document. You can see all of the pages. I can scroll through, navigate through each one of them. Now it's time to present this document to my class. I like to choose View Full Screen. You can choose a couple different options. This is kind of showing it not widescreen. You can change it so that it will go to that widescreen. Kind of compare those two different views. I like to keep it like this, and as I'm teaching and talking and writing all over my board, ready for the next page, there it is, ready for the next page, there it is, and when I'm all done, I hit the escape button and I'm done with that presentation. Now we want to save all of our hard work, so you should know the basics like saving the document. And my favorite feature, one of my favorite features, I should say, is export as. What I'm doing is I am going to export it as, now a lot of people have access to PowerPoint, so that's always an option, but I prefer to export as a PDF. This is a portable document format, and that allows it to be viewed by almost any sort of program, any sort of computer. I do this so that all of the notes that we do in class are now saved as a PDF, able for the students to view at home on their own. Different features that you can do: you can make it full page so that each slide is its own page. You can do handout options so that students can take notes next to the thumbnail images of each one of those slides that you created. So you've got lots of different options here. Save it as a PDF, and you'll be able to access it again without needing that Smart Notebook software. That's it for the basics of the Smart Notebook software. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you for watching.